LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling has been at the helm of his team longer than any other owner in the NBA, and now his 33-year run may be in serious jeopardy. At 2 p.m. Eastern, just a few hours from now, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will announce his decision on how to address racist remarks reportedly made by Sterling, remarks that have been condemned from every corner of the sports world. That includes his own team and its coach, Doc Rivers, who spoke on behalf of his players on Monday. Take a listen.
They didn't sign on for this, but they're part of this, and they're upset at this, but they're going to hang in there, and so are we. I can tell you that as a group and as a team.
Silver is under extraordinary pressure to come down hard on Sterling. Last night, Sacramento Mayor and former NBA All-Star Kevin Johnson, who's working on behalf of the league's Players Association, wrote the quote, "Sterling should be suspended indefinitely, banned from games, slapped with the maximum fine possible, and forced to extract himself from basketball operations." Hall of Famer Michael Jordan, owner of the Charlotte Bobcats and the only principal minority owner in the league, said he was disgusted that a fellow team owner could hold such sickening and offensive views. Owners like Jordan may ultimately have to approve Sterling's punishment, particularly if Silver seeks to go beyond a fine and suspension. Meanwhile, the team is feeling the pinch from its sponsors. More than a dozen have either cut ties with the team or are in the process of doing so. All of this comes at the worst possible time for the NBA, right in the midst of the playoffs. On Monday night, the Miami Heat mimicked the Clippers' silent protest by hiding their team logo during warm-ups. Members of the Rockets and Trailblazers wore black socks. The Clippers will play Game 5 of their series tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Hall of Famer Magic Johnson, who was part of the picture that set off the alleged racist remarks, said the players have to rise above the controversy, at least for now.
If nothing happens, then you can boycott in the offseason, and not just the Clippers, the whole league has to. Because if he's not thrown out, you got to do something.
Michael McCann is founding director of the Sports and Entertainment Law Institute at the University of New Hampshire and a legal analyst for Sports Illustrated. And Jason Reid is a sports columnist for the Washington Post who previously covered the Clippers as a beat writer. Thanks, both of you, to being here. And Jason, I want to start with you because you have covered the Clippers extensively and you know Sterling. Tell me about him, both personally because you've interviewed him, but also his reputation before this controversy.
Well, you knew that there were things that were said when you were around the team about Donald Sterling's views on things. And when you would talk to people, they would say, yeah.
That he had racist views on things.
That he had racist views on things. And people would tell you that. But, you also, when you were in his presence in personal settings, I mean, I've had dinner with him. He's had my wife to dinner, us as a couple. When our first child was born, the Clippers sent something to the hospital as a gift. So, a lot of times when you deal with people on a personal level and you hear things that are attributed to them, there's a kind of a disconnect. But clearly, when I covered the team, it was clear that there's something going on.
There was an issue from the beginning. Michael, I want to turn to you now and the NBA commissioner's possible options in handling this. We have a graphic of what could possibly happen. He could be fined. He's worth nearly $2 billion, by the way. He could be suspended. He could also be forced out. Doesn't appear as though that is a likely possibility. Tell me why and what you anticipate is going to happen at this point.
Sure. So I would say I anticipate that he'll be suspended indefinitely and that the commissioner will say that a further penalty will be issued or considered sometime after the season ends. That's my expectation. I don't think we're going to see a final penalty at 2 p.m. today during the press conference. We might, but my expectation is that the commissioner will say this is an ongoing investigation. However, there's enough evidence to suspend him for the rest of the season. In terms of the legal issues involved of forcing him to sell, that's a tricky area because the Constitution has vague language about what is required to force an owner to forfeit a team, essentially. And typically the understanding has been that it's about financial issues. It's not about personal conduct. It's not about even racism. And if the NBA attempted to force him to sell, either through a vote or through some other mechanism, he would likely bring a lawsuit. And the area of law that's implicated is antitrust law. Antitrust law in this context would be the NBA and its teams have joined hands to force him to sell his asset at below market value. At least that's what he would argue. And under antitrust law, there's treble damages. So whatever he would get if he wins a lawsuit would be multiplied by 3. But the real issue for the NBA is they don't want a lawsuit, because if there's a lawsuit, Donald Sterling isn't going to be going away. He'll be sticking around for a while. The league wants him to exit for reasons that Jason noted earlier. Probably the easiest way to do that is to suspend him and work with him on selling the team and having him have some final say in that sale.
And Jason, I want to turn back to you. The mayor of Sacramento has called this a defining moment for the NBA. What are the broader implications for the NBA moving forward? And does this league need to do some soul searching?
Well, Donald Sterling was allowed to stay in his position when owners and players knew for years that these were his views on these things. So it's definitely a key moment for the league. It's a key moment for Adam Silver, the new commissioner, because he's got to get this right. And obviously there are legal problems with just getting him out, but that has to be the end game for this league to move forward and heal.
And Michael, let me have you weigh in on that. How much pressure right now is there on Adam Silver to get this right?
A tremendous amount of pressure. Adam Silver has said that his number one priority was the NBA age limit, which now seems like a trivial issue compared to the importance of this particular issue. So this is a major event early on in his administration. I think so far he has done an excellent job, in my view. He said at the get-go, this is a process. I want to make sure things are done correctly. I want to make sure that my fiduciary duties as commissioner to the owners in this league, including one that's now very unpopular, Donald Sterling, are met. I think he's going about it the right way. I understand there's a lot of pressure on him to be decisive, to come out swiftly, but I think taking the process that he's taken, to me, is the wise move, because the last thing the NBA wants to do is to face litigation down the line. And Donald Sterling is a lawyer. Donald Sterling has been sued before, partly over issues of race. He is not someone who likely will go away quietly if he believes that there's any kind of legal grievance that he could bring up. I think Silver is smart to go about this in a way that doesn't increase the likelihood of litigation.
All right, Jason, Reid, Michael McCann, thank you so much for your insights. We appreciate it. And a programming reminder, MSNBC